couple St. Patrick's Day things for you. I know you guys got a lot of people in here in the park. Probably you just pass them out, or if you don't want to eat them all. You think that hadn't driven a million donuts in my life.
There's nothing sadder in the world than a cop without a donut, you know.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We used to give them free donuts just so that they would surveil our parking lot a little bit, you know, just swing by every now and then to make it.
When I was a cop up in Moorhead, we'd get free pizzas. You know, people order the pizza and not show up, and all of a sudden I quit doing that. And it took me a while to figure out what it was. Is when the dispatcher quit dispatching, and all of a sudden the lieutenant was dispatching.
Yep.
He was sending and they were keeping all the pizzas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I went down and ordered $70 worth of pizzas for the lieutenant, see.
Oh, okay.
And of course they went down there and had to pay for it. Jean?
Yeah.
Hi, Miss Jean, how are you? I've heard about you.
Oh.
Yeah, she's
Hi.
This is Derek.
Hi.
Derek?
You both have had your shots, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't want to say that I'm a non-believer, but I'm a believer that we should all live our lives and not be so scared of something like traffic accidents. There's 50,000 deaths a year driving a car, so if you're worried about dying, you probably should never drive your car. You wouldn't think that I delivered a million donuts in my life with the way that package came, but yeah, it kind of flipped over into...
Well, thank you.
Yes, give them away if you guys don't want them, but...
Oh, no.
I gotta tell you a story. Have a chair. We were down here, and I wanted a Spanish coin so bad, and just wasn't finding it.
Right.
I mean, you just don't go out and find a Spanish coin. And we had a 3-day storm, and we were at that time we had our camper right on the beach out here.
Right.
And 3 days. I mean, the campers are awesome. One of the old timers said he's never seen anything that bad. And I was out there the 4th day, and that's the day I did find a Spanish coin, but I was just digging steady. I had a 5-gallon pail. I probably had that half full of sinkers. I found 5 gold rings, 141 silver coins. So I'm talking Mercury's, Barbers, and you know, and normally the beach is empty. There's not many people out there. But one of the rockets was going up, see. And I had to go to the bathroom so bad, and I had so much stuff I couldn't get it off the beach in one trip, you know. And it never occurred to me to wait out in the water, see. And all of a sudden the rocket went up. You know, and everybody's watching, and I'm whizzing in the car.
Oh yeah, well we get to dig, right? So we're down on the ground. So many times have I done that to where I'm down on the ground and I'll just have my shorts pulled to the side and I'll be like, nobody's looking, I'm just digging in the hole. But yeah, we're a mile away from the closest restroom. So, and as much as I walk, so with what you just said, so you had 500 targets. I mean. So that's one thing that people praise me about is how efficient I dig, right? So I dig really well. And, you know, like one hole might be 4 or 5 scoops, so you're not just digging one scoop and then you're done. So you've got 4 or 5 scoops for 500 holes. You know, look at the exercise that we get when we're out on the beach.
Yes, Fisher come out with a new pulse machine at the AQ.
Yep.
And they wanted me to field test it. And Gene and I went.
Do you have that? Can we look at that, or are they not letting it?
No, I just sent it up there. I got pictures of it. I can give you pictures.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd love to see the pictures. So it's not the impulse machine, is it? Is it the?
No, it's a pulse machine.
Okay.
And they made 100 of them.
Okay.
You know, 100 of them. And then the one that they sent me is after the 100. It's the final version. Because they had a lot of problems, a lot of crashes. There's a lot of videos out on this stuff.
Okay.
And it's a heavier machine, but it's well balanced. And I've had 3 surgeries in this arm. I've had 2 in this arm, and I've also torn the rotator cuff again.
Yep.
Said I need another surgery. And I said no, I'm not going to.
Yeah. So you know I'm not picking on you when I comment about your swing.
I haven't gotten much better. You're going to be impressed with me.
Okay. Well, the Equinox is super light. You switch to the Equinox, right? So, so my first machine was the Garrett AT Pro. Second machine was the Sovereign GT. Then I waterproofed the Sovereign, knowing that most of the targets were in the water. I made a waterproof box so that I could take it into the water. And then my third machine was an Excalibur. which is a really good machine. I used to tell people that when I would dig something, I could tell you whether it was a red or a blue pull tab. That's how good I was getting. It's just a joke. That's how good I got with the sounds. And then this machine, the 800, I have the Equinox 800, is the best technology other than the CTX, right? So the CTX gives you a 4-number display. And if they make an Equinox with like the E-Track, if they take the 2-number display and then give you a 4-number display, and then I think that they can improve on the Equinox just a little bit. But as far as picking up like fine jewelry, small little chains and stuff, you'll pick up those little aluminum rivets that come off the chairs. You'll pick those up at 6 or 8 inches, you know. So
oh, it's unreal. I got this year I got 210 muster balls down at River Trail.
okay.
In one rail, But I got there. There are tons of people there, you know, and I got almost all of my stuff behind these people, you know, and every time that there was another group of guys that I come over and we wanted to meet at Turtle Trail. That's down south of Wabasso there.
Right.
And it's a well hunted, but it's a giving beach too. A lot of stuff is found there. But anyway, they wanted me to meet them down there, and I said, well, I'll be late. I'll meet you there, but I want to check every beach on the way down there.
Right.
You know, and so down I go and checking the beaches. And when I got to Wabasso, it looked good. You know, so I called these guys. I said, Wabasso is where to be. I said, you know, and they come right over to Wabasso.
Right.
I got into a spot, and I dug, I think, 5 or 7 these ship nails, and then I got a 14-karat ring and a little 10-karat pendant. And not one of them gave me a signal. Every one of them was just a little hiccup in that thing.
So you listen, so you have the threshold on.
Yep.
Okay, so my viewers ask me, because when I'm in the water, I use the threshold. When I'm in the wet sand, sometimes I really use the threshold. And it's not like the threshold from the Excalibur or the Sovereign. So the Sovereign and the Excalibur will return with a different note, right? So the hiccup is what I try to explain to my viewers, right? So if you set your settings to where your threshold is purring, and I say my machine's purring like a kitten, so it's purring with no hiccups, or no shorts. And then when you do come to a hiccup in the threshold, that's a deep target. So guys, hey, so I'm editing the video you're watching. So the threshold, Terry calls it a hiccup. I used to call it a delay. Like you'll hear, it's just a delay between constant sounds. So the threshold on the Equinox is just a steady single sound. So it's like me, and you'll hear me, you'll hear the slightest, what Terry calls a hiccup, and that's just such a great word for it. When you hear that minor hiccup, and I've found at least 3 gold rings with the threshold on, listening for that hiccup, and he actually digs the hiccups. Well, me, I just check the hiccup again to see if there's any sound, and 3 different times I found gold rings reaching back to the sound because of the hiccup. So pay attention. I'll start running the threshold a little more, and then I'll start talking about it a little bit more. But those of you who are better at the beach with the Equinox should be using the threshold. So it's something that I try to teach my people. It's a nuance of the machine, or it's somebody that's heard a threshold for a lot of years to really understand about the hiccup. So I found several gold rings when I'll swing out and I'll hear a hiccup, and then your brain says, well, wait a minute, there was something there. And then you swing over it a couple more times and you might catch a slight sound, or you turn up the sensitivity to where it might be the EMIs might be affecting it, but it still shines deeper. So that's how I get a lot of my stuff. And I'm not scared of following behind people either, but that's a skill set. So it's also a mindset of people like, I know a lot of people that just go, oh, there's people on the beach, they get frustrated and they just leave or whatever. Me, I find it as a challenge. Okay, there's somebody just went down there. Let me follow, see if I can find stuff behind them. It's so much fun to find stuff behind people.
Yeah, with me, I suppose it is a challenge, but it's just that, you know, if I'm finding things, I'm not going to leave. And if I'm not finding things, then I got to hunt a little bit longer. You know, I just have a terrible time quitting.
Do you dig negative signals?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. If it's a repeatable thing if it's down in, say, that 7 to 9 or something like that, it depends on the condition. One of the reasons I dig them is it tells me something. You know,
Information.
every time you dig a target, you're learning something, see? And it was interesting in this deal down in Wabasso. I said, this spot is loaded. You know, I said, try it. And these guys were there for 10 minutes and left. You know, and then the next guy said the same thing. And after they leave, I went back and I pulled more targets out. But every time, I shouldn't say every time, but 99% of the time, when I find something good and I show somebody, they say, what did it read?
Right.
You know, and I have to say, well, I'm not sure. I didn't pay that much attention. You know, you know, the Equinox is very accurate, up to 6-7 inches. But then it starts bouncing around. And when you get down to 10-12 inches, you know, oftentimes you're not even going to get a reading. You know?
Right.
And that's what they've got to understand, and they don't. And a lot of that, you know, like you, I learned it from the Sovereign. That Sovereign paid, you know, and I knew what I was digging. I said, you know, this young gal, Corinne, and I had her out one day. She was just starting. And but what's really funny is the tent poles. There was just a whole bunch of little tent stakes.
Right.
And I dug about 3 or 4 of them, see. And so I was telling, this is a dime, or this is a quarter, see. And you know, it's just blowing her mind. And I said, this is 10 stake, and it was a 10 stake. And I mean, she just thought I was the smartest guy in the world.
Well, you pretty much are. I know you're a really humble legend, is what we'll call you, right? Super humble. Wow, guys, look at.
Here's that coin. This is at this time, we believe it's one of the oldest coins. Well, it is one of the oldest coins. I don't know if it's the oldest coin found on the Treasure Coast. That's if you look at the coin, and it can really come out. And I found 2 actually that day. But you see, there's an M for Mexico, and then the G is I can't pronounce his name. No, that's the assayer, and he only worked from 1544 to 1548. You know, so they can date it within them 4 years. So it's a Carlos Iguana.
Can they distinguish what ship it was on?
No. I took it down to Steve Hodges down there, and he gave me a certificate of authenticity, and he put unknown ship. You know, and there's a second coin.
That's gorgeous.
I don't know if I got any. I should get some of the pictures out. And the incrustation, it was totally encrusted.
This is my box.
Oh, so you detect as well?
No.
Oh, you mean your keep box? Okay,
Yes.
that you put stuff on and wear.
I get first choice of all the rings he finds.
Yeah, that's spectacular.
You do have to watch Walmart parking lots too.
Really?
We were just pulling into Florida when we still had the camper, and there was a Walmart real close to the highway. And I told Terry, I said, I need some groceries. That would be really easy to get in and out of with the camper. So we pulled in there, and he parked right on the edge of the parking lot. And as I'm putting my groceries away, I see him take off in front of the truck, and he saw something shiny. And it was this bracelet, and it's 14 karat gold.
Wow, that's amazing. Of course, we have a different set of eyes, right? So we can look down and see stuff before our metal detector gets there. So that's important. I tell a lot of people that are walking on the beach, I say, keep your head down, because half the stuff we find is on the surface. So it's pretty neat that.
Yeah, that's a second life.
That's.
We were in Detroit Lakes, Minnesota.
Wow.
In a Walmart parking lot, and he was pulling into the spot, and then he backed out, and I said, what are you doing? He said, there's a gold bracelet down there. That one was 18 karat gold.
They're loading their groceries, and their wrist gets caught on the trunk or something, and it pops off.
Yeah, well,
that's crazy.
He ended up selling that for $550. One of the ladies here in the park.
Nice. Yeah, so nowadays with gold being, well, it went all the way to 20 something. Now I think it's at 1700. I haven't looked in it. I haven't looked in a little
Here's
while.
that's this coin. That's the way it looked when I.
How did you get it from that to that?
I tell you, it's a different type of incrustation. It actually looked like a grainy gunpowder. And I use that 50-50 for boratic acid. You wrap it in tin foil, put it in the 50-50 solution, and it wouldn't clean it. And as clean as I got it, it was I could see what it was.
Right.
And so I took it down to Steve Hodges, and I don't know what he did.
Right.
But an interesting thing, the other one, has the same incrustation. That's the only two coins I've ever seen with that type of incrustation. So that leads me, and Steve believes the same thing. But there's no detail on that other one. But I was just reading a book, in fact, I got it right here, and they talk about when they were salvaging stuff from the Constellation. I think it's how you pronounce it. It has a covering of like coin silver or tin silver, they said, or something like that. And it shines up really nice, but you don't get much detail.
Right.
When you remove that, the detail comes back up. So I think, I never knew about that. So I asked Steve, that's what are you doing? But anyway, this
So not like an electrolysis or anything
no,
like that?
I do use the electrolysis, and I tried, the thing, I guess I didn't try this one with electrolysis simply because I just afraid I was going to screw it up. Take it to a professional.
Well, that's something that I'll follow up with. If you could ask Steve what his process is, if it's not like...
He said electrolysis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he said electrolysis, and then I found a ring from the 1500s this year. He had an expert look at it, and it's dated back to the early 1500s. And
where's that come from?
Same area that I got this. I got this.
I'm not saying that the beach, so it was from a sunken ship or from somebody who landed?
I think there's a sunken ship in that area. Here's another thing that I got.
Yeah, I'll keep your location secret.
Yeah, I got no problem. I'm not going to tell you anything I say you can use.
Okay.
But this pendant, that's a solid gold. That's 22 karat gold, and it come off a funeral mask.
Wow.
You think it's the Incas, Mayas, or the Aztec Indians. And believe it or not, the state archaeologist was with me when I found it. He had called me and had a friend that wanted to take detecting, so we went up there, and the friend took off. So we were kind of waiting for him to come back, and I'm playing, and there's a real gigantic cut there. And I'm playing it, and I got this very weak signal. I dug it up, and this is what it was.
That's amazing.
And so I brought it home, put it on my gold tester, and it tested 18 karat. And I'm just disappointed. I mean, I really, and then what happened is I took it to a friend of mine. We tested it with the acid test. It's high 22 karat.
Right.
And so then I took a gold escudo and tested it with my tester, and it tested 18 karat. My tester only goes up to 18 karat.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to go higher, see. But anyway, these are normally low karat.
Right.
See, what happens when the Spain was coming up here, they were trading for the Indians and robbing them blind, and they started watering down the gold. Yeah, can I call you back? Okay, go ahead.
I wanted to show you, this ring is real old.
It's south of Melbourne, about 16 miles.
Can you see the shape of the
One
diamonds?
in Sebastian.
They're real irregular shape.
They are. I can see that one there. Looks almost like an oval with a...
Well, that's the old mine cut diamonds, and they quit doing that in like the late 1800s.
The inlet down there, and that's called it's a state museum.
I get excited thinking about, because people are like, oh man, I imagine the woman that lost that.
Yeah, right there.
I get excited. Obviously, if I could return it, I would love to return it. But just the thought and the story of did she throw it in?
Yeah.
Did she, there's so many stories, and I'm sure you've heard about many women throwing their rings in.
When he found this one, that's a 2 karat diamond, and he found a ring that I'm sure was the mate to that.
Right.
And
that was my first thought, was a bad divorce, and she tossed them.
Absolutely.
I found this one at the same time.
Wow.
I found 11 rings that day, 5 of them gold. And then actually I went back that night, got one more diamond ring, and then the following morning got another one. It's just, I spent a lot of time going up and down the beach looking for gold spots. I mean, that's the key. I mean, you can have the best detector in the world, you have the most skillful detectors, if you're detecting over nothing, you're not going to find it.
It's the science. You know that my drone will go to the beach and back from here. So you don't even have to leave here. You could sit right here with the drone and fly out to the beach.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
He found this one, and
Wow,
He
that's a
went and had it
crazy
appraised.
looking stone.
The emerald is 4.7 carats, and they said it's a real high quality emerald.
That's the cleanest. It looks fake. That's how beautiful that emerald is. It's
Yeah,
Well,
that's
so.
professionally appraised.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's the cleanest. I wish I had a loop. That's the cleanest looking.
Well, and
Emerald
it's
I've ever
surrounded
seen.
by the 16 diamonds set in platinum, and he had it appraised $11,000.
Oh yeah.
And I said, can you imagine wearing something like that to the beach and losing it? I said, I was pretty dumb, so I hope she was at least smart enough to have it insured.
So this thing that I say is, "Hun, don't worry, I'll buy you another one when we get
Yeah.
home." That's what every man must tell his wife after she loses something. "Hun, don't worry, I'll buy you another one when we get home."
People who wear rings like that probably don't even.
Guys, I'm going to pause it for a minute. I want to look at this through a loop. Hey guys, I'm going to stop it right there. The video is a total length of 50 minutes. We're at about 25 minutes. How about that emerald? Is that not the most amazing emerald ring you've ever seen in your life? Yeah, we're only halfway through. He's going to show us a lot more in his collection. The knowledge Terry has is unbelievable. He gave me some books, guys. Detecting the Treasure Coast with Terry Shannon. So I'm going to drop a link to his website, and I'm asking you guys to do me a favor to go to his website and buy his book. He's got 2 books out. Buy them both if you would. I would love that. I'm sure he'd love that. At least get the Treasure Coast book. It's got tons of knowledge about where to look. He's just filled with knowledge, guys. So it's terryshannon.com. Go to terryshannon.com and please order his book. I would appreciate it. And yeah, I'll come back tomorrow for part 2. And yeah, love you guys. Thanks for watching part 1. Be sure to watch this again. Listen to some of the things he says. This is the best year he's ever had metal detecting, and it's because he switched to an Equinox 800, guys. So I'll see you tomorrow.